So my name's Sean Beery. I'm one of the founding members of an organization here in Hamtramck called Hatch Art. We started up, we're going on 20 years next year, and we had previously purchased the abandoned police station here in town and turned it into a gallery and studio space. So when Hamtramck Disneyland went up for sale and was obviously in need of a lot of attention, a lot of care, we seemed like the logical people to take over for it. So we put a bid in and we ended up purchasing the property. I've been the project manager of Hamtramck Disneyland for a couple years now, a few years, mainly because I'm the one who raised my hand at the meeting, not because I'm really particularly good at building things or anything. It just, I was really enthusiastic about it, so I jumped on board, and I've been coordinating the renovations for a few years now. Yeah, so the history of Hamtramck Disneyland is that it was created by a Ukrainian immigrant named Dmytro Shilak. He came to the United States after World War II, a couple years with his wife, and settled into Hamtramck and started working at General Motors at the Willow Run plant out near Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti. He did that for 30 years. When he retired, he started building this art project in his backyard, just for fun, apparently. And it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and pretty soon it took over the space between his two garages and rose up into the air past the power lines and swallowed up the whole backyard, and started attracting attention and kind of became a tourist attraction. So he died in 2015. And that's when our organization stepped in and we purchased it in 2016. It's one of those things, they call them outsider art projects, or, you know, there's a lot of eccentric artists like this around the country who start up these projects that don't look like anything anywhere else. And it's very distinctive to him. There's lots of Ukrainian mentions in it, lots of patriotic mentions. And it just had a very distinctive look. It's like nothing else you'll ever see. And it was in kind of an unusual urban environment. Sometimes you'll find these projects way out in the country somewhere where nobody will bother them. But to see them in an urban environment like this is a little more unusual. So people, it attracted attention, and eventually the word spread and people would come here from all over the world. I think it was just word of mouth. People I found out about it just by accident. When I moved to Hamtramck, I would come here, I would just wander around before I really knew where anything was, and I would just find it by accident over and over again, and I was convinced it was like the Baba Yaga's hut that was wandering around town, and I would just kind of stumble on it. And I think that's how people found out about it, and eventually it was written up in some magazines that are interested in this kind of outsider art project. And its fame just kind of grew. I mean, there's kind of like I said, there's a culture of these things around the world that people have tuned into. So, but whenever I'm working here, if I spend more than 15 minutes here, inevitably somebody will show up wanting to see what's going on, and I get to give them the spiel. It has a lot of fans, like I say. Sometimes people will ask what the neighbors think of all of this, and so far so good. We've had a couple of run-ins with folks who are confused about it, but for the most part they've been really happy about it. We've had neighbors up here who will show up and donate things that we can add to the project. A lot of local community folks help us paint horses and add art objects to it. So, and the city's been really good about it. I think the city understands that this is a tourist attraction, and they've been really good about helping us with permits and that sort of thing. So the reaction's been overall pretty good. Some of them go back to the beginning of the project. The windmill, the Concorde, the helicopter are all pretty old. A lot of this stuff was built, would fall down in a storm or get broken or rotted out, needed, the paint would peel off of it, so it had to be repaired, it would move around. If you look at photographs of the project from over the years, the same objects show up in different places with different color schemes, so it was constantly being recycled and rebuilt. So it's a little hard to know how old some of it is. A lot of it has rotted away and had to be completely rebuilt. So it's everything here is in a constant state of flux. So.
What do you like about the project so much?
I share his enthusiasm for airplanes and aircraft and that kind of thing. We had a German artist who was in residence here for a while, and we told her that Mr. Sheilak had worked for General Motors for 30 years. And then he built this project, and she kind of scratched her chin and said, that's interesting because there's no cars anywhere in the whole project. You'd think someone who worked for GM would put some cars in, and we kind of went, yeah, apparently he got sick of looking at cars because there's nothing but airplanes and missiles and helicopters and flying things here. So I like the helicopter, even though it was a pain in the neck trying to get it back up there. It had been sitting on steel landing gear that had rusted away, so this gigantic helicopter was just slumped over that platform, and we had to very gently move it around so that it would have more support, and rebuild it, repaint it. So there's been a lot of that kind of thing. It's no, I do enjoy it. I kind of get it. People often say, "Why in the world would he build this?" But now that I'm here doing it, I kind of get it. It's something to do with your hands. It's problem solving. You get to sit here and putter, and if it's too windy or too rainy out, you can always go indoors and work on something, paint a horse or create some little art object that you can hang up later. There's always something that needs to be done around here. And it's kind of a good way to get away from. It's a good way to get away from staring at computers all day, which is what I used to do. So. It was, it's one of those things. Hamtramck is such a weird little city. It's very small and obscure and somehow gets famous for things a lot. I don't know how it happens, but this was one of the things that Hamtramck was famous for. It was well known around the world. It was a precious art object. And as a bunch of other fellow artists, we wanted to make sure that legacy continued in some way. Mr. Sheilak's gone now, and the project's never gonna look the way it did when he was here, but we can work in his spirit and create things that are whimsical and weird and colorful and moving all the time, and carry on in his spirit.